Hi. So, we're just going to get right into it and go to the side stories. Quinn talks to his sister, Lilith. They phone call before they visit for Lilith's birthday. Okay. Alright. We're just roommates. I guess that's the choice I made, right? Oh no, fuck. My phone buzzed. When I saw my little sister's name on the call screen, panic filled me. Although we were close, she rarely called, and the dread of bad news made my stomach sink. Not stink. I left Valkie's room and ran into my bedroom. What I have to do the country accent that I was trying to do before. Lily, hi, is everything okay? Hi, Quinn. Yes, everything's fine. I say I've lost it already. I felt my body deflate and I sunk down on the bed with a relieved sigh. That's good. What's up? Are you coming over for my birthday? Of course I am. I always do, don't I? Yeah, it's just, you missed Mom's birthday, so... Hey, I didn't make a promise to Mum to be there every year. I come when I can. But I did make a promise to you, and I will keep it. No matter where you are, as long as I'm kicking and screaming, I'll be there, even if you don't want me to be. Lily laughed, and I felt myself grinning. She was the only family member I had who could bring a smile to my face. Good. I'll hold you to that. I'm not even doing the accent. I'm so tired. I'm sorry. The reason I'm calling is I want to ask you a favor. Oh? What's that? There's this movie I want to see, but it's gonna be out of the theater on my birthday. I was wondering if you could possibly come a day early so we could see it together. I'm just going into American accent. Accents are hard. I know you usually only stay for a day, so we could just celebrate my birthday a day earlier and you could leave. That would be okay with me. Huh? Can't any of the others take you? Well... tell me. Sorry, I mean, they said it's your job to spoil me. They don't want to spend any money on me to see a kids' movie. I had to stop myself from sighing with frustration. Well, if that's my job, I'm the lucky one, huh? I'll check my schedule at work and see if I can make it happen. Yay, thank you. No problem. Now, onto the important issue. What do you want for your birthday? I don't need anything else, Quinn. I'll be happy just to see the movie. It was a fight to keep a happy tone in my voice for her. Don't be silly. I'll always bring you a present. If you don't tell me what you want, I'll bring a bunch of whoopee cushions for everyone. No, please don't. Better tell me then. If you have the time, could you make me another pig with wings? I immediately knew what she was referring to and dread filled me. Lilith's dream was to become a famous research scientist who could discover cures for terrible diseases. She'd been working hard her entire life to excel in science and math to achieve that dream. I promised her years ago I'd do everything in my power to help her get into college to pursue that future. Last year, one of our sisters told her that she'd get that job when pigs fly. Lilith was devastated. People from our background rarely achieved anything big. One of the reasons we were so close was because I was one of the few that did escape our mediocre fate. I'd gotten out and graduated college. Because of that, she looked up to me. I was proof it could be done, despite the trauma I'd gone through and the impossible battles I'd fought and won. That year, for her birthday gift, I crafted her a little pig figurine with large wings spread wide. Lilith cried with happiness when she opened her present. But now I realized my mistake. The material I used was breakable, plus I'd made the figurine hollow to save money. I should have expected it to break eventually. The others were so bitter and hateful towards me, I should have expected that they would destroy it just to spite me and shame her dreams of a different future. God damn it, who broke it? Quinn, language! Sorry. Don't take the Lord's name in vain, I know. It doesn't matter. Yes, I'll make you another one, and you know what? I'll make sure it's not breakable this time. I was so grateful I'd found a paid internship. My job didn't pay much, but it was enough to pay the bills and save a few dollars on the side. I'd been saving up for her birthday for months. I could afford better materials this year. Having a roommate now was going to make things even easier. Thanks so much. That one was my favorite. I'm happy you liked it. I'll make the next one even cooler. Oh, did you remember to make the yearly appointment? Yes, it's at 9 in the morning on my birthday. I made it early in case you wanted to leave sooner. I'll stay the day like always. So, what are we doing this year? You're the best, Quinn. The museum has a new exhibit, and the roller skating rink was remodeled recently. Will that be okay? Sounds like a lot of fun. How's our new dad treating you? Quinn, he's been here for years. He's not new anymore. Well, he's still new to me. I've barely talked to him. Yeah, he's not much of a talker, but he's okay. He mostly keeps to himself. Has he touched you? No. But? Eve is pregnant again, but I don't know who the father is. She refuses to say. Eve just turned 18, didn't she? Yeah. Lily? If that man ever... I know, I remember. I promise I'll call you immediately, day or night. If he even hints at something, I want you to call me. Okay, I will, I promise. Good. How are the others treating you? Oh my god, look, I just realized Valorosa. King Sebastian, he's back again. Same as usual, I guess. Hannah started harassing me about why I haven't had a baby yet. She teases me that I must be broken or something, and that I'll never have a husband. I had to bite my tongue to prevent another curse. I tasted blood. I know it's hard to believe, Lily, but it is not normal for a 14-year-old to have a baby. They are the weird ones, not you. I still wasn't sure how much Lilith knew about the past. She'd never spoken much about it. Having lots of kids running around was just too normal for her to question. If she didn't remember, I was certainly not going to tell her unless she'd asked directly. The family shame was enough to keep the other siblings quiet about it. I know. That's why you put me on that birth control. Her taunting me about the baby doesn't really bother me, but... But what? If I go to college, am I going to be able to find a husband? My eyes filled with tears and I had to take a deep shaky breath to stop myself from crying. Oh, Lily, you don't need a husband to be happy, but I swear going to college will only help you find a good, supportive man, if that's what you want. Really? A good man? Yes. You'll find someone who won't cheat on you, hurt you, or force you to have babies you don't want. You'll find someone smart, educated, and respectful. Someone who will put your happiness before their pleasure. Someone who will be proud of your accomplishments and encourage you to pursue your dreams. Do you know men like that? I winced. The truth was that the crowd I hung out with was full of lazy, irresponsible people who only cared about partying. I had to struggle to think of someone. Julian's face popped into my mind first. While he was an asshole and sometimes cruel to girls who came onto him too much, he also had a good side I couldn't overlook. I don't date a lot myself, but yes, I can think of one guy. What's his name? What's he like? He's too old for you, sweetie, but the guy I'm thinking of is named Julian. He works at a cafe and is going to college right now. He dates girls his age, usually from his college. He hates people who cheat, and he's even rescued a few girls from some bad situations. Wow, really? He sounds like a prince. I wiped away the tears that fell from my eyes. Julian, a prince. The world couldn't be this cruel. But I don't even want you thinking about boys. You focus on school, okay? Your prince will come along when the time is right. You don't need to rush into marriage. You sound like mother. But not our mother. Someone needs to be a mother to you. Sorry, I know you're a smart kid. You have a real shot at a good future. I just want to make sure you can get there. I know, thanks, Quinn. I'll see you soon. Yeah, you can't keep me away. See ya, bye. I hung up the phone. I wanted to do more for her. I wanted to rescue her from that horrible place, but that would be kidnapping, and my mother refused to let me raise her because I was a godless heathen. I hated myself for being who I was and for my powerlessness. I hated my mother for being willingly blind to the abuse. I hated my siblings for tolerating it and protecting the family image. I was so angry I grabbed a cup from my nightstand and threw it against a wall. It shattered and the shards fell to the floor. I yelled in frustration before falling onto my bed and crying. A few moments later, there was a quiet knock on my bedroom door. Not now, please. So that's what happened there. Alright, we're back here. The perfect Christmas. Quinn frets over a Christmas present. The first Christmas after Valkii moves in, right? What do you buy a girl who has nothing, yet wants for nothing? I had a love-hate relationship with Christmas since childhood. I loved the music, movies, parties, and general excitement. I loved seeing happy kids running around with candy canes and talking about Santa. There was a woman in our apartment building who dressed her kid up in ugly holiday sweaters every day of December, and I looked forward to seeing each new monstrosity. But the holiday itself, Christmas Eve and day, I loathed. It started with small things. The gifts I received as a kid were always boy stuff. Action figures, toy tools, sports gear, and plain dull clothes. I envied my sisters with their dolls, makeup, and brightly coloured dresses. My brothers would play sports in the yard, games I didn't enjoy and could never win. My older sisters would help Mum in the kitchen, a place where I was banned, while my younger sisters played dolls, dress up, and watched cartoons. Mother would yell at me to go outside with the boys if she caught me playing with them. After leaving home, a time where a brutal man manipulated, trapped, and used me, the holiday was even worse. The real creeps came out during that time, eager to distract themselves from their awful lives. Once I escaped, Christmas became nearly unbearable. The week surrounding would be fun, full of parties and friends, but Christmas Eve and Christmas Day were isolating and depressing. Everyone I knew would be with their families. I was always alone. All the clubs were closed, so I'd eat a bowl of microwave ramen in front of the television until I surrendered to an alcohol-induced slumber. New Year became my favorite holiday, so tolerating Christmas wasn't complete torture. New Year's was all about the parties and dreams of the future. I had a lot of dreams. She's my dream now. I have to find the perfect present. I was stunned to learn Valkii wasn't going home for Christmas. Like me, she was used to being alone on that cursed day. Her parents had social obligations, she said. Her brother was forcefully dragged along, but her monstrous mother considered her too much of an embarrassment to include. I felt terrible after hearing that. As a child, I was also an embarrassment to my mother for different reasons, but I'd never been excluded because of it. The more I learned about her parents, the more Valky's loving and kind nature impressed me. Although I pitied her, I was happy too, because that meant Valkii and I would celebrate Christmas together. Never in my life had I been so excited for Christmas. We'd already planned to cook a meal together. With our awful cooking skills combined, I was certain we'd have a blast and make something palatable. I'd already ordered a special bottle of wine and cake for us. All I need is the present. That was the hardest part. I'd been to store after store after store, searching high and low for the perfect gift. When I asked her what she wanted, she gave me that beautiful, enchanting smile. Nothing but your company. My heart melted with those words. How was I still falling in love with her more every day? How was she still able to surprise me with genuine, loving remarks like that? But it didn't help me figure out a present. I wanted to buy her something that she would use frequently, something that every time she picked it up, she would think of me. I selfishly hoped that little, frequent reminders of her cool, awesome, lovable roommate would earn me some points in her warm heart. I still wasn't sure what her feelings were towards me. I suspected there was something between us. I noticed her shy smiles, sneaky looks, and blushed cheeks often. When I flirted with her, sometimes she would become a stuttering, adorable mess. I loved to tease her to see those flustered reactions. But something stood between us that I failed to understand. Some kind of thick, frosted glass kept us apart. I knew she had a rough childhood. I'd gathered enough details to understand that she was abused by her mother and her brother. There was something lurking in her past that made her feel afraid. I had no idea if it was a tangible fear, like incurring her family's wrath, or if it was something softer, like a fear of being hurt. Whatever it was, I would be patient. She was worth waiting for. I went into my 10th store on my hunt and spent my entire lunch break searching. Clothes were worn too infrequently, jewelry felt too impersonal. Giving her family's wealth, I doubted she desired any. Her schedule was too packed for games or hobbies. Lotions and perfumes could irritate the skin or smell bad. She was too clumsy and messy for candles. I didn't want to risk our apartment burning down. She was far too shy for adult toys. That would be a better gift to save for later in our relationship once I knew her tastes. Oh, why is this so hard? My sister Lily was the only one I'd ever shopped for sincerely, but Lily always knew what she wanted and would tell me well in advance. Considering all her belongings were second or third-hand used, she was also easy to delight. Anything that was exclusively hers was special. I left the store empty-handed again and sat on a bench in the street with a heavy sigh to think. I knew plenty of things Valkii would enjoy, food being at the very top of that list. That girl loved to eat, and I was jealous of how well she held her curvy figure, but I wanted something special. I need ideas. Yeah? A Christmas gift? Yeah, I want something special, but I can't think of anything. I visited the cafe on one of Valky's school days, hoping Julian could help me think of something. He was the person she spent the most time around other than me. Julian considered my question carefully. Were you not getting her anything? No, I already have a gift for her. I'm giving it to her before we go on break. It's a backpack and a gift card to the cafe. This cafe, where she works every day. She has one of those damn blueberry muffins almost every single day. The boss noticed and yelled at her. Aw, poor girl. Internally, I grumbled to myself. A backpack was a brilliant gift idea. It would be something she used multiple times a week for the next few years. I cursed Julian in my mind, jealous of his thoughtfulness. If she liked those muffins that much, I could shop for the ingredients and we could bake some homemade ones together. A gift card to that used bookstore would be good. She'll need new textbooks every year. I really wanted something more special than a gift card. Beyond stuff for school, I can't think of much else beyond general girl stuff. Shampoo, makeup, flowers, but I don't shop for girls very often. Alright, thanks for the help. I still had a few days to figure it out. I thought I'd do some online searching. When I got home and opened the door, I nearly turned around and left, thinking I'd walked into the wrong house. What the hell? Oh gosh, hi. I'm so sorry. Colourful wrapped boxes were stacked floor to ceiling in our apartment, and Valkii was in the centre of it all, unpacking each one and stacking things up neatly, trying to declutter the chaos. I hope you brought a castle to put all this stuff in. Valkii laughed, clearly embarrassed by the excessive boxes that filled our tiny little apartment. I'm sorry, my brother sent most of this. He's really angry that I'm not coming home because of Mother, and I guess he took it out on her credit card. I skimmed through the things she had already unpacked. Most of them were expensive clothes, long dresses, gowns, outfits she would probably rarely wear. Accessories, shampoo, perfumes, lotions, and jewellery were littered in piles as well. There went all my backup gift ideas. What do you mean by most? What about the rest? Valkii chewed on her bottom lip with a small look of worry as her eyes drifted over to a smaller stack of boxes. I glanced down at the tag and saw the phrase, "From your secret admirer." Secret admirer? You? I have no idea. Sebastian. A pang of jealousy struck my heart. But I couldn't fight an invisible assailant. Maybe one of the gifts would give me some clue to their identity. Well, let's open them up and see. We spent the next 20 minutes digging through the piles of presents, unwrapping them and marvelling at the contents. Whoever this secret admirer was, they went all out on the gifts. Included among them was a new top-of-the-line laptop, incredibly thin and light, yet a powerhouse in specs. Valkii also received a smartwatch, a sleek set of noise-cancelling headphones, and a digital tablet for just for slightly smaller than the new laptop screen, useful for drawing or taking handwritten notes. The entire bundle of gifts was easily at least 3 months' rent for us. Quinn, I appreciate these gifts and everything, but this is too much. I stared at her in confusion for a few long moments until I realized what she was implying. I laughed hollowly. Hun, I wish I could take credit for this, but these aren't from me. Oh, sorry, I just assumed. I'm not exactly the secret admirer type after all. I'm more of the in-your-face admirer type. I'd hoped to lighten the mood, but the laugh I received was forced. Who else could it be? Brandon would want me to know. Julian? I shook my head as I gathered some of the discarded wrapping paper for the trash. No, I talked to him earlier today. I know what his gift is, and he couldn't afford all of this either. I have no idea who sent these. Valkii sighed, looking extremely uncomfortable. I sat down beside her with concern. Is this a bad thing? I'd be thrilled in your shoes. I'm not sure. I don't like not knowing. What if they have some weird motive? I don't think I should use them until I know. Okay, that's fair, hun. I'll help box them back up. Many of the things Brandon gifted his sister ended up being donated. Valkii boxed away the mystery gift as presents, worried that she'd want to return them once she learned the person's identity. Her paranoia baffled me, but I could sense there was a depth to her concern. I wondered if she'd been through something like this before, or if she had suspicions about their identity. I pushed it all out of my head and returned to my search the next day. I wondered how she would have felt if I had given her one of those expensive toys. The cost of the item was clearly a concern for her, but I wasn't sure if that was solely an affordability concern or a fear of being indebted because of it. In the end, it didn't matter much. It wasn't like I could afford anything of that level. Trouble shopping? Oh, go away, Sebastian. Can we not have you in any of these, side bits? I jumped at the voice behind me and turned to see a vaguely familiar redhead approaching down the street. I sighed and nodded. I'd noticed this guy at the cafe a couple of times when visiting Valkii at work, but hadn't said much more than hello in passing. Hey, Sebastian. How'd you know? I've noticed you out shopping the last few days around here, but you never buy anything. That's creepily observant. He laughed and rubbed his neck awkwardly. Sorry? I walk this way a few times a day. I wasn't following you or anything. You kind of stand out with that colourful hair and all. Maybe I could help. I doubt it, but I'm looking for a gift for Valkii. I wanted it to be something special, but the more I think about it, the more worried I get. Oh? Why is that? She's got a fuck ton of gifts from her brother, and then another batch from some secret admirer. It all made her really uncomfortable. She gave a lot away and refuses to use the stranger's gifts. Oh. I mean, she's not ungrateful or anything like that. I think she's worried about the motives of the gifts or about owing the giver something. I don't know. I don't get it, but I'm sure she has her reasons. Well, that's terribly sad, but I doubt she'd feel that way about a gift from you. You're her best friend, right? I smiled at the thought. I wanted to be more than that, but if she felt that way, I'd be ecstatic. She had mentioned before how isolated she was growing up. She never had friends outside of her brother. I hope so. I'm certain of it. You're a good friend and everyone needs one of those. She trusts you, so she won't question your motives. I'm sure she'll love anything you get her. Why are you being so helpful? Yeah, you're probably right. She needs a friend more than anything. Maybe I'm overthinking things. An idea suddenly sparked in my mind and I jumped with excitement. I lunged forward and wrapped him in a brief hug. He laughed in his surprise. Ah, thank you, Sebastian. I know exactly what to get her now. On Christmas Eve, I was too excited to sleep the night before, so I awoke early and started making breakfast. Valkii woke to the smell of pancakes, coffee, and bacon laid out on the little kitchen island. A plate was already set for her with a tall glass of juice. Beside her fork sat a small box waiting to be opened. There was no way I could wait another full day to see her reaction. This looks great, Quinn. Thank you. Oh, a present. Hang on, let me get yours. I blinked as she darted out of the room. I honestly hadn't expected her to get me anything, and I couldn't restrain the wide grin that formed on my lips. She returned a few moments later and pushed a small box towards me as she sat down. It's not much, but I hope you like it. Go ahead, open it. I stared at the tiny little box in the palm of my hand. It was a simple cardboard jewellery box with a small red ribbon wrapped around it, tied in a neat little bow. I gently tugged on one of the ends, and the bow easily unravelled and fell on the countertop. I removed the box lid. Inside the box was a hair clip decorated with white stars and a few pink hearts. It was simultaneously simple and gorgeous, something I would feel comfortable wearing to work despite its girly style. I felt tears forming in my eyes and I laughed as I wiped them away. Why are you crying? I didn't... 'Cause I'm happy. This is so sweet and perfect, Valkii. Thank you. I couldn't help but think back to all the gifts I'd received over the years, from the childhood action figures and clothes to the adult bottles of vodka, gag gifts and snacks. I couldn't explain why this small little hair clip felt like the first real gift for the real me. It was something cute and feminine and thoughtful. It was something I could wear proudly and without embarrassment, anywhere I went, no matter who or what I felt like on any given day. I felt silly being so emotional over such a little thing, but the tears came anyway. Valkii accepted the real me without question or hesitation. She ran over to comfort me and hugged me tightly. I'm glad you like it, but I didn't expect this kind of reaction. Yeah, sorry. I can't help it. No one's ever gotten me something so perfect. A look of understanding crossed her pretty face and she nodded and squeezed my arm. My heart throbbed in my chest. I wanted so much more with her, but I knew in my heart we would always be close friends no matter what life brought our way. I was willing to fight for that. Please, open yours. Okay. She turned and picked up the narrow, long box. I watched with anticipation as she unwrapped the paper and pulled off the lid, then removed a set of 2 necklaces from the box. She palmed the connected jewels at the bottom that formed a heart shape when combined. Best friends forever. She looked confused as she pulled apart the heart, which connected by magnets. Each side of the necklace had half the words written on them, so the message was only readable when the hearts connected. It's called a friendship necklace. You said you didn't go to school growing up, so I thought you probably never had one of these. They were really popular with girls in elementary school. Each person wears one of the necklaces, and it symbolizes your eternal friendship. Valkii stared at the hearts for a few moments before looking up at me with teary eyes. She offered me one of the necklaces without hesitation. Then this belongs to you. I took the necklace and quickly tugged it over my head. The little half heart hung in the corner of my in the center of my chest. I watched as Valkii did the same. She couldn't control her tears any better than me. I wrapped my arms around her body and squeezed her tight against me as she cried. I've never had a best friend before. Thank you, Quinn. You really are the best friend I've ever had, hun. We held each other until our sappy tears finally dried. We made the most of Christmas that year, and it was the best Christmas I ever had. Every day I loved that woman a little bit more, and I wanted more of her with each heartbeat. One day, we would be more. True love wasn't formed through lust and passion and impatience. True love was built on a foundation of trust and understanding and selflessness. We would find our way to each other one day, and until that day came, I would enjoy every moment at her side. Oh, fuck. I'm not gonna edit that, okay? Alright. Quinn meeting Julian before Valkii moves in. What is this one? Quinn deals with his gender identity. Valkii has been... Okay. Yeah. Look, I gave her an American accent. What's going on over here? Okay, I can't do it. What's going on over here? Who cares? Stay with me. Yeah, you're like a little puppy. Woof. I was half drunk and blissed out as I nuzzled my partner of the night on the couch. Amanda scratched my scalp as I laid my head down in her lap, admiring her exposed small breasts. The party's music was loud and not loud enough to completely overpower the arguing coming from another room. Sounds like a fight. It wouldn't be the first or the last time people yelled at these house parties, so I ignored the noise, allowing my eyes to close. Drugs, alcohol, sex, and music allowed for a lot of fun, but also a lot of conflict. Fights were not unusual. This is me not caring. She giggled and brushed loose strands of hair from my face. I smiled at the affectionate attention. I was grateful for her friendship. We'd met years ago through my past abusive ex. She had been one of his customers, although he'd wanted to turn her into more. It was a small world. We'd bumped into each other on the college campus. I just recently started college, although I still had no idea what I wanted to do with my life yet. I hadn't lived in town long, but Amanda and I became quick friends. We shared an uncertainty about our future goals. She also introduced me to the wild party scenes, where my impressive ability to hold my alcohol and roll with the punches had made me surprisingly popular. Oh, come on, you care. Not enough to move. She flicked my nose and I stuck my tongue out at her playfully. I still didn't want to move. This was the happiest I'd been in many long years. While a few people gave me shit about my gender uncertainty, for the most part my weirdness was accepted or even entertained. It wasn't the kind of acceptance I sought, but it was a massive improvement. As a bonus, no one blinked at my bisexuality, which I'd been terrified to confess growing up. Most people I hung out with now were experimenting with all kinds of things. I was having a lot of fun every weekend, with Amanda often accompanying me. Between that and school, I finally felt like I was reaching for a bright and achievable future. A loud crash caused us both to suddenly jump. It was soon followed by a woman's scream. I jumped up, grabbing my shirt from the floor and tugging it on as I ran, Amanda doing the same and following. We had to push our way through the crowd into the kitchen. I paused a second to assess the situation. A girl in a bra and nothing else was clinging to another woman on one side of the kitchen. Julian, what are you doing? On the other side, a handsome guy in a jacket and gloves was beating the shit out of another dude, who was on the ground with an obviously broken nose at minimum. Whoa, whoa! I ran in and grabbed the attacker's arm, trying to yank him off his victim. To my surprise, I could barely move him. He was deceptively strong. Regardless, my attempt snapped him back into reality. He hesitated, looking around at the witness, then stepped away on his own. What the fuck, man? Tried to push past the guy with gloves and help the other man, but he stopped me with a glare and nodded over to the mostly naked girl. I'd only briefly glanced at her. On a second look, I realized why he was directing my attention. The girl had a nasty bruise around her throat, her hair was a mess, and the bra that she still wore had a strap broken. She was also crying, mascara staining her cheeks. It was obvious she'd been assaulted. Fuck. I rushed over. I didn't know her name, but I recognized her face. She was trembling. I tugged off my shirt and offered it. She quickly put it on. She was short, so the shirt fell to her thighs, covering her body. Are you... No, that fucker, he... She choked on another sob. The girl she was with grabbed her shoulders and guided her out of the kitchen, pushing past the crowd. I stood in shock, unsure what to do next. I looked back over to the scene to see the victim scrambling onto his feet and running out into the backyard. The man with gloves started to follow. I grabbed him. What the fuck are you doing? Did anyone call the cops? He glared hateful at me for a moment, but then his face relaxed and he sighed, coming to his senses. Quinn, right? Yeah, who the fuck are you? Julian. I heard her yell. He nodded in the direction of the girl with my shirt left. I busted into the bedroom and saw him trying to hurt her. He tried to run past me, but I caught him here. And beat him. I saw him do it with my own eyes. A beating is the bare minimum he deserves. Prince Charming saving another damsel in distress. Hey, Amanda. Hey, sugar. Another? There's a lot of wasted college girls looking for fun at these parties all the time. Bad shit's bound to happen. Julian's becoming our bouncer. I still don't know how to get out of the country accent. Help. He rolled his eyes at her, smiled, and sighed again. I'm not looking for fights, Amanda. I didn't say you were. I appreciate you helping the girls here. We all feel safer with you around. Although it was a compliment, Julian looked distressed by the idea. He rubbed the back of his neck, looking everywhere but at us. What? What's the problem? I don't exactly want a reputation of being a violent person. Nonsense, you're a hero, for fuck's sake. From the look on his face, I got the impression he'd prefer no one to even know he existed. The crowd around us, now bored, began to disperse and return to the party. Shouldn't we call the cops? Yeah, I think we should ask the girl what she wants to do. What? Why? He's a fucking... I know. The thing is, the college will claim it's their problem to handle, and the cops are happy to have that shit taken off their plate. Plus, if you do push the cops, it's years of legal drama and lawyers fighting over he said, she said. The few girls that have pushed it to court ended up with the guy getting community service or changing colleges at worst. Sometimes the girls even get harassed or threatened to drop the charges. I can't get this American accent back. What the fuck? Yeah, it's awful. That's why Julian's so popular. He looks out for us and keeps us safe when no one else cares. I'd heard Julian's name a couple of times in passing conversation, mainly girls asking if he'd be around, but I'd never met him until today. He was a handsome guy, the tall, dark, and brooding type. Don't, Amanda. I don't want. I don't think you get it, Julian. All the girls here respect you. We'll protect you just like you protect us. Everyone here saw what happened. It's obvious. No one's gonna let the cops cause you any trouble because you beat up a... Julian frowned, still clearly unhappy. I wondered if he commonly had confrontations with the police. Well, if that's the situation, I can't blame you, Julian. You're a good man to look out for them. If I was built like you, I'd probably do the same. I reached over and grabbed his arm, squeezing to feel his large muscles. I giggled as he blushed. Sorry, I'm, straight. Since I was now shirtless, my gender was obvious. It was often hard for people to tell. I winked at him. Doesn't mean we couldn't have some fun. He frowned at me and pulled his arm away. Yeah, no, it kinda means exactly that. I laughed. He realized my intent to lighten the mood, so he chuckled awkwardly. Amanda laughed. I'm gonna go check on our girl. You two get a drink, have some fun. Julian groaned as Amanda walked away. I chuckled. You knew my name? I know all the girls here. I saw you and asked a friend. Thinking I was a new girl? Yeah, sorry. Not a problem. My gender swings both ways, just... What a catchphrase, huh? He stared at me in disbelief until I laughed, then he groaned again. I don't know how to deal with you. I could show you. I gave him a dirty grin and he winced. Look, you do you. I don't care which way anything swings. Not my business. Just don't swing it at me, okay? I laughed. His awkward, uncertain discomfort amused me and I couldn't help but tease him a little. As long as you don't swing that fist at me. Hey, fuck you. I'm not some violent brute. He frowned as I laughed again. It was too easy to get a rise out of him. I'm just messing with you, man. Relax. That's easier said than done. Why? It shouldn't be. I don't think you realize how big a deal it is to have these girls to have someone like you looking out for them. A lot of girls, especially if they've already been victimized, won't set foot in a party like this purely out of fear of what could happen. Yeah, the world is a shitty place. But guys like you make it a little better. His frown confused me. Don't sell yourself short. It's a big deal. You... Stop. Just stop. You don't know me. I don't know you. Don't go making judgments about me. I frowned and folded my arms, baffled by his resistance. What's up with you, huh? I'm trying to say you're a good guy and you're being a little bitch. Better a bitch than a skank. Wow. His regret was immediately apparent. His words hurt, but all of the insults that had been hurled at me over the years, skank was at the bottom of the list. I put on my poker face and glared. Sorry, I should go. I didn't stop him as he turned and walked away. He not only left the room, he left the party. I went out and found Amanda, who informed me the victimized girl had also left the party with her friend. I explained what happened between Julian and I. Julian's a pretty big asshole. Amanda sighed softly and frowned. He seems that way sometimes, I know. But I think that's a defense mechanism or something. I still can't get it back. I don't know him super well, but I get the feeling he's been through a lot. He doesn't let anyone get close to him. I think he intentionally tries to piss people off sometimes, but deep down I think he's a good guy. He has to do what he does for the girls, right? Cafe Luna was popular with all the college students. I'd been in school a few months but hadn't had the time or money to visit. People said it had good food at cheap prices in a convenient location. It was only a few blocks away from campus. Once I'd had a part-time job for a while and a steady income, I decided to check it out after a long and stressful day of exams. I was surprised to see Julian working the register when I walked in. I thought about leaving, but decided against it. I had a reputation that insults didn't bother me, and I liked it that way. It meant people didn't bother trying. It looked uncomfortable when I approached to place my order. The cafe was mostly empty. It was fairly late in the evening, long past the dinner rush. Can we talk for a minute? Look, I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that. Bullshit. You don't say something like that without knowing why. I was praising you, and you figuratively slapped me in the face. I want to know why. Damn, you don't pull any punches, do you? Amanda said you have a bad habit of pushing people away. I'm guessing these two aspects of your personality are connected somehow. My personal life is none of your business. True. Counterpoint. I'm a persistent and nosy son of a bitch when the mood strikes, so you can tell me or I can figure it out for myself. Which will it be? His look of horror made me even more curious. The seconds ticked by as we stared at each other down in silence, seemingly at a stalemate. Julian blinked first. Look, I'm not a good person. I've done bad things. It makes me uncomfortable to be described as some kind of hero for beating the shit out of an asshole. I sighed and nodded as my thoughts drifted back to my own complicated and damning history. I've done bad things too. Really, really awful, unspeakable things. Doing something bad doesn't make us bad people. Kinda does. No, it doesn't. I know the things I've done were bad and wrong, but I know I did them for good reasons, and I know I'm trying to be a good person. I'm not very religious these days, but my family was devout and I spent way too fucking long in a church for being a bi-gender questioning dude. But I do know God cares a fuck ton more about our intentions than our results. The world isn't black and white, it's a million shades of fucking ugly grey. People are flawed and complicated, but as long as we're trying to make the world a better place, that's all that matters at the end of the day in my book. To my surprise, Julian smiled softly at me after I finished my rant. Make the world a better place, huh? Yeah, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with my life after college, but I know I want to help people. The world fucking sucks, and it needs everyone finding some kind of way to make it suck less. He chuckled softly, but that cute smile quickly faded from his face. But, well, I think I try to make the world a better place. But I think I do it mainly for selfish reasons. I shrugged dismissively. No one does anything for entirely selfless reasons. Even donating to charity, some people do it just because it makes them feel good about themselves. That doesn't make them bad people either. They're still doing it because it makes the world better. They could just as easily spend that cash on drugs and booze. Yeah, I guess that's true. That cute smile was back. It was a shame he wasn't into me. Thanks for the pep talk. I needed to hear that, and sorry about calling you a skank. Sincerely. Well, I kinda am a skank, so no hard feelings, unless it's between your legs. I winked. Julian groaned again, rubbing the back of his neck uncomfortably. Okay, I take it back. You are a skank. I snickered. Shut up and let me order, asshole. Alright. That was kinda cute. Alright, last one. Quinn deals with this, so Valkii has been living with Quinn for a while. Good afternoon, Mr. Michaels. How are you? Can I get you a coffee or water? I stepped into my tiny, disorganized office at 9 in the morning, carrying a large folder overflowing with papers in one arm and a mug of lukewarm coffee in another. An old man in his late 60s sat in the worn chair with thin, stained seat padding. I circled my desk and sat down, scooting the wheeled chair up to the cheap plywood desk. The wheels squeaked. The old man stared at me, confused. Working with people at the beginning stages of dementia was not uncommon. I offered a friendly smile as I opened the folder and sorted through the stack of papers. How are you doing, sir? I saw you recently recovered from hip surgery. Are you having any mobility issues? What are you? Excuse me? You a guy or a girl? I restrained an annoyed sigh. If I had a quarter for every time I'd been asked that, I'd be sitting on a beach on my own private island being fed grapes and fanned by sexy male servants in pink speedos, while a prince massaged my feet. I don't know why that information is relevant, sir, but I am male. Why you just... I'm not saying that, then, boy. You're wearing makeup. Ain't you got no self-respect? I didn't realize I'd clenched my fist until I heard the crinkle of the paper being half balled up. The unexpected sound startled me. I quickly straightened the paper out with a muttered curse. If this happened on the street or in a social event, I'd snap at the man and rip him a new one. But I was at work, a job I generally enjoyed and desperately needed to keep. Instead of lashing out or defending myself, I clenched my teeth and forced a polite and professional smile. How about we discuss your application for services, sir? Sorry for the delay, Miss, Baker. I rushed into the room, carrying a stack of large folders for the rest of my meetings for the day. I had been running chronically behind all day due to a heartbreaking and challenging case early this morning. A middle-aged woman sat in front of my desk, clutching a large, overstuffed knockoff leather purse in her lap. Her hair was greasy. It was a greasy, unkempt mess. She sighed with impatience. It's Mrs. Baker. When is my caseworker arriving? Right now. I'm your caseworker. Apologies for the mistake of your title. Technically speaking, I didn't think I was wrong. The woman had been a widow for more than a decade, according to her file. It wasn't worth arguing. I sat down, my tired feet aching and in desperate need of aspirin for my growing headache from caffeine withdrawal. You? No, this can't be right. You're just some kid. Are you even a boy or a girl? It's weird, I can't tell. What's your name? My name is Quinn. I assure you that I'm qualified to handle your... Are you a boy or a girl? Okay, There are instances where this matters, and it's whether, I'm more comfortable with a female doctor, for instance. So if I couldn't tell, I might be a bit wary. Just because that's like literally one of my boundaries. It's just... Yeah, I'm not going to go into why, and I don't owe anyone an explanation why. But in that instance, I do think it's important. It's not important in this instance, I would say. I don't know exactly what he's dealing with. But, like, he's not doing anything invasive, right? That's... Yeah, so I think it doesn't really matter, so I don't know why anybody cares. She snapped at me, interrupting. I clenched my teeth and repressed another sigh, imagining that beautiful beach I could be tanning on. I wanted to snap right back and ask what fucking relevance my genitals had to her case, but I forced a polite smile. There were always some close-minded bigots among the elderly. I tried very hard to be understanding. Most of my clients were old enough to remember segregation. Ideas like gender issues and homosexuality were unfathomable to them. Because homosexuality is a really recent thing. Miss Baker, let's discuss. I want an adult woman handling my case. You can't understand the shit I've gone through. I want to talk to your manager. Okay, see, now I'm once again flipping over to the other side. I just don't know the ins and outs of what the fuck he's doing, you know? I don't actually know what he deals with. What's on those papers, what sensitive information that she maybe doesn't want a dude to know. Because trauma. I don't know. Yes, ma'am. I feel bad for him, of course, like, but also the other person's comfort does matter, you know? I left the room. Before I stopped by my manager's office, I went to the break room to make myself another cup of coffee. The pot was empty. I stared at it as my temper boiled over. Also, I don't really understand what his issue is. I mean, okay, no, I do understand what his issue is. He doesn't like being defined by his genitals, but he goes by he or she, so why can't he just say whatever, you know? I told everyone to make another pot when it was empty almost as many times as I'd been asked my gender. There was a sign right above the fucking pot to remind people. Unable to restrain my rage any longer, I threw my coffee cup across the room. The cheap plastic bounced off the wall and hit the floor. The fact it didn't break only pissed me off more. My manager saw my frustration level and sent me home early to chill out. I was grateful my boss could empathize with my issues. She reminded me that their problems weren't really about me. Empathize? I mean, sympathize? They were old and stuck in their times, confused by the modern day. A lot of them had been through some awful situations and didn't know how to cope, so they lashed out at anyone around them. All of my co-workers suffered similarly. There was only one guy who got shit about his long hair he refused to cut. Another girl who had a tattoo on her wrist she refused to hide. Another girl with a scar on her face she tried desperately to hide with makeup. The worst clients would find something to latch onto, no matter who you were. I knew it was true, but it still got under my skin. I was so androgynous that people asked a lot and I wasn't always sure how to answer. Most days I could ignore it and change the subject to their applications, but there were other days when it didn't feel right to say I was a guy. I knew biologically I was male. I had a perfectly functional... I'm not saying that. So male was my default answer, yet still, sometimes I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. On those days, I found myself choosing more feminine outfits and applying more makeup or taking special care to style my hair. Also, like, but like, okay, so like, he's like, okay, gender fluid, all of this stuff, cool. I'm real good with that, and that could be entirely what Quinn is going through, but it seems like he's a bit like confused and he needs to figure it out. So I just want to say that it could just be that you're a guy who likes wearing makeup and likes wearing feminine things, and that is also okay. I just wanted to say that. Like, it's not just because you like things. Like, we're not going to go backwards in time, right? We're not going to go backwards in time and say that liking stereotypically feminine things makes you a girl and liking stereotypically male things makes you a boy. That's redundant, right? Am I crazy? Like, it's how you feel, right? So if you just like makeup and feminine outfits and taking special care to style your hair, I don't know. And you're proud of your dick, I don't know. You could be gender fluid, or you could be a guy who just likes being feminine. Either is fine. I just want to say, I hope anyone struggling with that works it out. I do. I really do. But I just want to know that it's fine either way. I just want you to know it's fine either way, rather. It was hard to avoid thinking about the issue when people asked me so frequently. I didn't want to be this way, but I'd already tried and failed at faking it for most of my childhood. I decided to visit the one person who magically always put my mind at ease, my roommate Valkii. She was working, so I decided to have a late lunch at Cafe Luna. The place was busy and there was a long line. I immediately felt selfish for coming. She was clearly swamped with work. As badly as my feet hurt, I couldn't imagine her pain after running all over the cafe all day. I decided just to say a quick hello and take my lunch home. I could talk to her later tonight. In front of me in line was a mother and her daughter, a girl who looked under 10. She kept peeking over her shoulder at me. When I caught her gaze the third time, I smiled and said a polite hello. The girl looked up at her mother, who was engrossed in her smartphone, not paying attention. The girl turned around with a smile. Hi, can I ask you a question? Sure, hun. What is it? Are you a boy or a girl? I forced a smile despite my urge to scream. Why? Why was everyone asking me that lately? I couldn't go a single day without it coming up from someone. Did I need to wear a fucking name tag? Hi, I'm Quinn. I have a dick. But she was just a kid. I couldn't be mad at her. What do you think? The little girl thought seriously for a minute, staring at my face. You must be a girl, because you're wearing makeup. Boys don't wear makeup. What are you doing? Leave them alone. The child's mother grabbed her shoulder and pulled her forward, muttering something to her I couldn't hear. I ran my fingers through my hair and sighed. I'd worn lighter makeup today. I rarely wore none. Eyeshadow and foundation to cover my pores were the default. I liked my eyes and felt the different colours drew attention straight to them, away from my less appealing features. When I got to the front, neither Valkii nor Julian were taking orders. I grabbed a sandwich and went home. I'm sorry, Quinn. I don't know why it matters so much to people. But I do remember when we first met, I assumed you were a girl without really thinking about it or asking. I know, and what you did doesn't bother me in the slightest. Honestly, I just prefer everyone do that. I don't care which gender they assume. I'm so tired of being asked. I mean, that's fair, right? That's fair. But also, some people don't like other people assuming, because then that could be insulting. It is so complicated. It's all down to someone's personal preference, and you could end up insulting them no matter, like, your good intentions. It sucks. It's hard. It's just hard. All around. Well, I imagine some people would be offended if they were called the wrong pronouns. I don't think... Well, thank you. Thank you. She's literally me now. Just way prettier. I don't think people have bad intentions. They could be trying to be polite and respectful of your identity. I paused, thinking it over and realizing she was probably right. I hadn't ever thought of it like that before. I was so used to dodging the issue entirely because I'd been bullied over it so often. Thank you, hon. I hadn't thought of it like that. That does make me feel better. This also makes me think that he does not hang out with other people like him, which I guess is kind of obvious, right? But you'd think there'd be someone like him at a party. Oh my god, look! Look on the bookshelf. I can't remember if you can see my mouse on the screen. It's the pig that flies. That's so cute. I kind of really like the slanted plant pot. Totally that's fake, right? Because you can't water that really. There's a monkey, there's a bunny. I like this vase as well. This is just concerning considering the game we're playing. Also, is this just like duct tape? I've never actually taken the time to look around the room before. She smiled back and squeezed my shoulder. We sat on the couch, the TV on but muted, showing commercials. Of course, I'm happy to talk to you about anything. You help me so often, it's the least I can do. I sighed, rubbing my tired eyes. I still don't know how to answer it though. Should I just keep saying I'm male? That's the easiest solution, just not to think about it and give the biological answer. I suppose that's an option, but that's what you've already been doing, isn't it? It seems to trouble you. I don't see any other option. I see the same clients at my job regularly. It's important to build a bond with these people and earn their trust to help them. Some are so closed-minded and stuck in their old ways. They'd be confused and probably angry if I came in one day saying I was a girl and another saying I was a boy. Yeah, that's the thing. And if these clients get to talking and you've told them like different things, it could be tough. It's so it's again, I feel like in this instance his gender, his real biological stuff is unimportant. Again, I feel like it's important for doctors. Because, yeah, there could be genuine trauma with that kind of thing. And you don't want, for instance, a girl who had something really bad happen to her by a dude in the past. And then she doesn't then want to go to a doctor who's a man and have them touch her like that when she doesn't know them. You know what I mean? That's why it's important in that instance. I don't know if it is here. I don't entirely know what his job is. I know it's he wants to go into geriatric care, right? So I guess that's kind of important. And Quinn isn't like this at all, by the way, what I'm about to say. Quinn would never do this. Yeah, he would never do this, but you hear bad things about dudes in care homes, don't you? And in morgues. And in hospitals. Sorry, I'm not trying to be horrible. It's just, yeah. Sometimes these things matter. That's all I'm gonna say. But I want Quinn to be happy. Well, I think first you have to answer this. What do you want to do with your friends? People like Julian and I. People that understand and support you. I don't know. Have you ever thought about a permanent gender change, like surgery or anything? Or is it always back and forth between male and female? More like back and forth. I've never considered surgery, not to even mention the cost and being on hormones for the rest of my life. I can't even imagine, but it wouldn't help me regardless. Have you considered being neutral as an option? I've heard about people using they-them pronouns. Yeah, I've thought about that, but it doesn't feel right either. I'm glad it works for others, but it makes me feel like I have a split personality or like there's clones of me running around or something. The world can only handle so many Quinns. But what a beautiful world that would be. We shared a laugh and a hug. I still had no answers, but I felt better. You some kind of... Oh my god, it's Mr. Tate. Mr. Andrew Tate? Oh my god, it's in character. I don't want no working around me. Fucking disgusting. Feeling better after talking to my roommate was short-lived. The next day at work was utter chaos. 2 co-workers were out sick and our new admin had double-booked me multiple times. My manager was swamped from covering the co-workers' cases. All of my appointments had run long for various reasons, most of them being wastes of my time or stubborn people. I desperately needed an aspirin and a shot of tequila and some coffee, but I hadn't even had time to piss yet. I lost it and snapped at him. Where I stick my dick at night has no relevance to your goddamn case, so shut the fuck up and sit the fuck down or get the fuck out. He chose option number 3, to punch me in the face. Great. Fuck, what happened to you? I was off work the next day while an investigation went into the incident. Thankfully, with pay. I had a black eye that no amount of makeup could hide. I didn't like sitting around and doing nothing while my thoughts spiraled, so I decided to go to the cafe. I was embarrassed by my uncontrolled outburst. Everyone knew me as someone who could shrug off anything, but I was starting to crack under the pressure. I might not have a job next week. What the hell? A guy at work insulted me. I was having a bad day. He didn't take kindly to my response. Julian snickered with an amused grin. I glared at him and he quickly wiped it away. Sorry, not cool. But I gotta know what he said. I've seen people call you all kinds of nasty shit and you just laugh it off. He called me... Like I said, it was a bad day. That's it? You've been called that before in front of me. Must have been some fucking day. Since when do you care about name-calling? I sighed and rubbed my forehead. The truth was that I always cared. It bothered me. Years of abuse had forced me to develop a thick skin. Years of experience had taught me the best way to get it to stop was to embrace it and own it. I wore the mask well. It was just a really bad day. Can we leave it at that? Yeah, alright. I'm sorry, Quinn. I may hate your guts, but you don't deserve this shit. I chuckled at his smile. Our weird frenemy relationship was always entertaining. The cafe was mostly empty, so Julian sat down at the table across from me. Seriously, though, I'm sure Valkie's a better person for this kind of personal stuff. But if I can help, let me know. Julian was a weird and confusing person. I'd never quite figured him out. I knew he was a good man. He'd proven that time and time again. But he could be such an asshole at times, too. I don't think you'll get it. Valkii understands somewhat, and she tries, and I love her for it. But I don't know. It's so hard for me to even explain. Yeah, because you don't even know. Like... You don't have the words to explain it, or you are so like confused within yourself and you need to like figure it out. Well, out with it. Just say it as bluntly as you can. I don't know if I'm a boy or a girl. He laughed. I miraculously restrained myself from getting up and punching him in the face. Hey, fuck you, I'm serious. So am I. Fucking hell, Quinn. You're neither, or both, or whatever the fuck. You're just fucking Quinn. Your gender is fuck you. I stared at him dumbfounded for a moment as his words spun in my head. After a moment, I started to laugh too. Since I didn't fight back, I was allowed to return to work a week later with a written warning on my record, a hard lecture from my boss, and some extra HR training. I walked into my first appointment of the day, a full mug of hot coffee in one hand and an organized folder complete with tabs and notes in the other. I smiled brightly at my client and sat down. Excuse me, are you my caseworker? Yes, Mr. Williams, my name is Quinn. Nice to meet you. Are you a girl or a guy or... I smiled politely after taking a sip of my coffee and a deep breath. What do you think, Mr. Williams? A girl, I guess, with the makeup and hair. That works for me, Mr. Williams. My name is Quinn. You should dress more ladylike so people don't misunderstand. I chuckled softly. I'll keep that in mind. Nice. See, he's coming into terms with himself. I want to cry. He's so nice. Okay. That was it for the side stories. Now we're going to go into the short stories. Then we got the what ifs. And then, oh my god, the next time I play this, we're going to be doing the hidden route. No, we're going to be doing the particles and then the hidden route. Oh my god, I'm excited. See you in the next one.